I'm going to show you 5 different strategies that I used in order to lose 22 pounds in only 30 days. So stay tuned. Hey, what's good everyone? My name is Emmanuel and I recently went on a weight loss journey. Before we get started, I want to make sure to let you guys know that I am not a nutritionist, I am not a registered dietitian, and I am not a personal trainer. But I do actually have a degree in nutritional science from the University of Arizona. But honestly, I just wanted to share my story since I recently just went through it to help anybody that might be struggling. So let's get started. Now, a little bit about me before I tell you the 5 strategies. So I have always been big my entire life. And in my adolescence, I was very, very heavy. I was always that big kid going through every single grade. I was double the size of everybody else in my grade. Now, when I hit 7th grade, that's when I started to play football all the way until college. And it was always glorified that I was actually super, super heavy. So I just kept gaining and gaining and gaining weight. The heaviest weight that I had ever been, where I actually stepped on the scale and I knew how much I weighed, was 318 pounds. I have the body type to where if I eat a cheeseburger, I gain 5 pounds. So like, if you can relate to that. So losing weight, not easy at all. Now, I recently went through weight gain just because of the times that we're in and the gyms are closed. There wasn't really much to do. So what did I do? I ate a lot. And there was a certain point when I decided that enough was enough. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to incorporate everything that I know, everything that I've learned, and I'm going to lose weight to where I can be happy and healthy again. Now I'm going to tell you guys about the 5 different strategies that I use, 2 of them being fitness strategies, 3 of them being eating strategies. Now, some of the eating strategies can be kind of controversial. Honestly, I just wanted to try them out, challenge myself, and see how much weight I could lose within a 30-day period. And the results I got were amazing. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly what those are. First, I'm gonna talk about the 2 different fitness strategies that I use. Most people end up using these fitness strategies anytime that they lose weight. So I'm gonna just briefly touch on them really quickly, and then I'm gonna get to the 3 eating strategies that I use that were super, super effective for my body type and just being super effective with me losing weight. The very first fitness strategy that I ended up using was, of course, cardio. Now, it wasn't a lot of cardio. I do have a bike, so I ended up doing about 3 miles every single day for the entire 30 days. Now, the reason why I did this was because I know that for my body type, when I lose weight, aerobic exercise is the most effective thing for me. And also too, I wanted to do it for sustainability reasons because 3 miles a day on a bike is pretty sustainable for me to do, and it really worked. The second fitness strategy that I ended up using was weightlifting. Now, weightlifting is very important because I wanted to get my body shape while I was losing weight. And I did all of this at home because the gyms were closed. Now, the things that I did were like push-ups, sit-ups. I ended up doing like a little bit of dumbbell work, but I have such low weight with the dumbbells, I wanted to really focus on just giving shape to my body while I was losing weight. The frequency of me lifting weights was about 6 times per week with 1 rest day. I want to tell you guys about my mentality going into this. I wanted to have a game plan. What I mean by game plan is that each subsequent week, I wanted to tighten up the diet and make it a little bit more strict to see how far I could push myself. I'm now gonna talk about the 3 eating strategies. The first eating strategy being intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is also known as time-restricted eating. So you basically restrict the time of when you eat. Some common intermittent fasting strategies are the 16-8, where you eat for 8 hours, fast for 16 hours. There's also alternate day fasting and OMAD, 1 meal a day. So looking back at my game plan, what I ended up doing is with intermittent fasting, I actually started with the 24 method. So what this means is I would fast for 20 hours and then I would eat for 4 hours, and I did that on week 1. Week 2, I actually ended up going to OMAD, 1 meal a day. I really enjoy doing OMAD because every single day is like Thanksgiving. You eat 1 big meal, you feast, and then you don't eat until the very next day because you're so satiated. The 3rd and 4th week, I basically kept doing OMAD, but at the beginning of the week, I ended up doing a 48-hour fast to start my week. Sunday, I would end up doing a 48-hour fast, and I wouldn't eat until Tuesday morning, and then I ended up just doing 1 meal a day until the end of the week. Doing the OMAD diet is really good for my body. I just know that like when I personally am eating and I only eat once a day, but I feast on a really big meal, it really helps with me not overeating throughout the entire day. I'm the type of person that if I can snack throughout the entire day, my calories could be up in the 4,000, 5,000 mark. Another thing with the OMAD diet is it really helps to cut down on cravings. When I was snacking all day, I would constantly be thinking about the very next time that I get to snack. When I do the OMAD diet, I hardly ever think about food because I am still so satisfied from the meal that I had earlier that day. I briefly want to touch on calories really quickly. So the amount of calories that I would take in is I would use a BMR calculator. So you just have to go onto Google and just Google BMR calculator, and it's going to ask for your height, weight, and your age. And so for me, at the weight that I began this with, which was 252, my BMR was about 2,400 calories. With intermittent fasting, I would just eat about 2,500 calories within one sitting. So you think about a whole day's worth of calories in one sitting, that's kind of hard to put down. But just like on Thanksgiving, you would eat this massive meal and then you actually wouldn't even think about eating until the very next day, which works perfect for me. So the very next eating strategy that I ended up using was the ketogenic diet. So for the very first 2 weeks of my whole game plan for the 30 days, I would eat only ketogenic foods. So what is the ketogenic diet? The ketogenic diet is where you eat mainly fat, moderate protein, and as little carbs as possible. This is how I did it and it worked really well for me. So what that looks like is at about 70% fat, you eat about 25 to 30% protein, and you eat as little carbs as possible. So basically it looks like all the meats that you want, eggs, nuts, green vegetables are okay, but you mainly cut out the sugar, the breads, the pastas, anything that has high carbs in it. Now with the ketogenic diet, I would typically try to stay under 20 carbs every single day. And this actually ended up being really easy when I ate a lot of meat and very little green vegetables. I actually really enjoy doing the keto diet because I'm not really a sweet tooth kind of guy. I never really crave sweets, cake, candy, sweet drinks, frappuccinos. I never crave those things. So doing the ketogenic diet was actually kind of perfect for me. Now, I do sometimes crave potato chips because those are like salty and savory. I actually did end up cutting those out for this entire 30 days. I really enjoyed doing the ketogenic diet for the first 2 weeks of my 30-day challenge, but because I was in a 30-day challenge, I wanted to see how far I could push my body. So now I'm going to tell you about the last eating strategy that I ended up using. The very last eating strategy that I ended up using to finish off the last 2 weeks of my 30-day challenge was the carnivore diet. I know, it's a crazy diet, but just hear me out. The carnivore diet is where you eliminate all foods except for anything that is animal-based. So green vegetables are not in this one, nuts are not in this one, and I even eliminated keto-friendly foods. Again, this is what worked for me. You gotta kind of play with it to see what works for you. So you might be thinking, what did I eat on the carnivore diet? I ate mainly steak, eggs, sometimes salmon, butter, and cheese. But eventually I ended up cutting out the cheese as well. I wouldn't even pepper my steak or use smoked paprika because those come from vegetables. So what I love about this diet is I would mainly eat a ribeye and eggs. Now the reason for this is because I wanted to stay ketogenic. If you look at the macros of a ribeye, it's actually about 70% fat, 30% protein. Now here's the crazy part about the carnivore diet that I kind of just want to throw in there real quick. So weirdly enough, during this part of the 30-day challenge with the carnivore diet, this is actually where I felt the best. And I'm talking about mental clarity, I'm talking about strong will, and I'm also talking about within me doing cardio and my at-home workouts. If you're thinking about trying the carnivore diet, I would definitely give it a try. What prompted me to do it is I saw Joe Rogan tried it for 30 days and the results that he got. So I was like, you know what the hell? I'm gonna give it a try. And that is how I lost 22 pounds in only 30 days. I am currently 33 pounds down and 7 weeks into it. So as far as sustainability, I know for my body, this is something that it can really handle and it actually enjoys doing. I am still doing the carnivore diet. On most days, maybe one day a week I'm doing keto because sometimes I have a sweet tooth and I actually want to eat like something like keto ice cream. For me long term, I think like over months and years, the ketogenic diet is the way to go just for sustainability reasons. But doing the carnivore diet, I think is a powerful tool. I'm going to use the carnivore diet for when I want to get really, really lean. So like let's say right before a wedding or if I'm gonna go on vacation. If telling my story helps even one person who is struggling to lose weight, then I am happy that I could help in some way. I'm gonna continue to make more videos. I definitely wanna go a lot more in depth on everything that I touched here. And I also wanna kind of start to veer off and see what kind of other videos I can make that would be very interesting to anybody. Now I wanna show you guys some before and after pictures. But before I do, make sure you like and subscribe and comment down below if you've ever used any of these strategies before. I'd be really interested to know what worked for you and what didn't. My name is Emmanuel, and I hope to see you guys in a future video. Peace!